it's just gonna really undermine the video if I fuck up the tofu.
Oopsie. Oh no, it's spilling. It's spilling! Ah! Hi. So today I'm making a Japanese inspired feast using this bag of dried soybeans. I've eaten a lot of tofu and drunk a lot of soy milk, but I've never actually made either of those things before. So today I'm going to try and use every aspect and every byproduct of the tofu making process and hopefully come up with something delicious. Ryoma is wearing a margarine tub on his head today, not just because I'm being cruel and unusual, but he's been really ill this week. He went suddenly blind overnight. We don't know why. And he's spent a lot of time at the vets, he's on the mend, he's seeing properly again now, but he is wearing this to try and stop him from scratching his eyes. And honestly, he's being very tolerant about it. I think if I put anyone else in a margarine tub, they'd be a lot madder at me. I've got cat hair on my nose. Soy milk is really easy to make, like a lot of plant-based milks. This is about a cup or 225 grams of dried soybeans that I've left to soak overnight in 2 cups of water. They've swollen up to around twice their previous size and can now be ground up. You can obviously also use a blender for this. I'm using the soaking water, but I'm also adding another cup and a half to try and get the right consistency. I'm using the Monster Big Boy pot. Because I have been told that this foams up a lot when you heat it. And I'm ready for it. Ryoma! You can't go in the garden, you've got a tub on your head. Cook this over a medium heat until it reaches about 85 degrees C and gets foamy. Then turn the heat down so it's barely simmering for about 10 minutes before you can strain it. This is nice, this is like making crabapple jelly or something. I feel like a little dormouse in a Beatrix Potter book. So this said it was going to make like 1.5 liters of soy milk. It's not made quite that much, but I did spill some of it on the table, so maybe don't do that. But we also do have our first bonus byproduct. This is okara. I don't really know what it's called in English because I don't think it's a thing in English. But it is a thing in a lot of Asian cuisines. Like, I don't need to explain what it is because you just saw me make it. So okara is quite perishable. It needs to be kept refrigerated, which I think is probably why it's not widely available in the shops, at least near me. And it also needs to be cooked more to be made more digestible. But it's super high in fiber, it's really good for you. So this isn't going to be wasted. This is going to go in the fridge for a bit while I use the soy milk. I'm using 3 cups or about 750 mils of the freshly made soy milk for my tofu. This does call for a specialist ingredient, which is a coagulant. I'm using nigari, which is, I want to say, made from seaweed? Google just says it's mostly magnesium chloride. That doesn't help me at all, I don't know what that means. Seawater! It's made from seawater! I was close! However, you can use other coagulants, and I've even seen people using lemon juice on blogs. So, I did actually do some research. I'm using nigari because it seems to be the most common in Japan, as opposed to gypsum or other alternatives. I don't know which is the best because I've never done this before, but this is basically, it's going to help the proteins and the oil in the milk to coagulate. Like before, I'm using a big pot to warm my soy milk back to 65 degrees C, and then I'm taking it off the heat. Stir the very warm soy milk 7 or 8 times in a clockwise direction, smoothly but with determination. This is very specific. What if I'm not determined enough? Drizzle the nigari over the spatula so that it drips into the center of the vortex. I get to make a vortex? This is so exciting. How much nigari? I've forgotten how much. I can't open it. What if I'm not determined? I didn't think this was going to be the hard part. What if I'm not determined? Why did I taste it? Stir the very warm taste the nigari 7 or 8 times in a clockwise direction, smoothly, just do it with determination. Okay, now I need to focus. I need to make a vortex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. drizzle the nigari over the spatula.
It's really not a vortex at all.
I didn't drizzle it over the spatula.
I did everything wrong.
Okay, cool. I've left this to sit, and I even added more nigari, and it's just not really coagulating. And I don't know what I've done wrong, apart from all the stuff I did wrong. This is how much tofu I've acquired. So it's not gone great. Okay, I'm doing an experimentary second attempt at the tofu using just like store-bought soy milk. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I did it exactly like it said this time. Okay, and then lid on. I did it exactly right. I'm straining this out in, like, I don't have a tofu press, so this was originally a little gift box for some vegan cheese and I'm repurposing it. Crucially, it's got gaps in the side and the bottom so the tofu can drain, and it's all been lined with muslin. The thickened, in inverted commas, curds of the soy milk are going in here, and I'm weighting it down with a little dish of water to compress it. This is supposed to make it more of a firm textured tofu than a silken, but I kind of feel that without the water, there's not going to be much of anything else left. Note the way that straining out of this. This is byproduct of the day number 2. I'm collecting this as it can be used for like soup, stock, smoothies. I did read that you can use it like aquafaba, but that is probably an experiment too far for today. Okay, I'm calling it a day. I have a few things to show for myself. I have soy milk, I have okara, I have the whey that's come out of the tofu, and I have the tofu. I wouldn't say it was an unmitigated success. I feel like the gods are punishing me for my hubris in even trying to make tofu. It's not gone great. I sort of ended up with a lot of tofu making byproducts and not many products. I was going to do this all in one day, but it ended up being a lot more complicated than I originally planned because I failed very miserably at everything I tried to do. So I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. I did all of that and that didn't even count. This hasn't gone well. Oh, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like I dreamed. Okay, so it's day 2. I feel like the worst is over. I've given up on tofu forever. I don't want to talk about it. But I do have a lot of... Why is there a fly in here? As promised, I'm now using this okara. This is a dish called unohana. It's basically okara, like... Oh my god, this fly! It's basically okara stir-fried with vegetables like leek, carrot, mushrooms. It's pretty straightforward, and because it uses the byproduct, it's pretty frugal. I'm starting by basically toasting the okara in a pan for 5 minutes or so before I add my veg and let it cook. I'm then adding 1 tablespoon of cooking sake and a cup of vegetable stock and letting it simmer on low with a little paper hat on for another 5 minutes. Tablespoon of mirin, tablespoon of soy sauce, and then after a little bit more cooking, the liquid should be pretty much gone, and I'm giving it a last jiggle, just because I like a crusty bit. Also, just FYI, the apron I'm wearing today is homemade, using the pattern from my Edwardian apron in my last video. It's changed a little bit, it's only got like a half skirt, but this one has pockets. The next thing I'm going to make today using my homemade soy milk is something called nama yuba. Yuba is basically the skin that forms on top of soy milk when you boil it, like the skin on top of a rice pudding. You're more likely to see the dried version in Asian supermarkets, but this is my first time making it fresh. It's super time consuming because each sheet can take like 25 minutes to form according to the internet. So I might just make a few and see how it goes. I'm using a double boiler for this to minimize the risk of the soy milk burning on the bottom, and also apparently because I love extra washing up. Oh my god, it's happening. You can eat this warm straight out of the pan, but I'm trying to like create a look. I really hope you appreciate how patient I'm being here. Okay, so for my main dish today, I'm making basically a knockoff of tonkotsu ramen, which is traditionally made with pork bones simmered super long and slow, and that's the type that you'll get in the Kyushu region, which is where I used to live. However, a really common and much quicker and easier alternative is made using soy milk, which kind of gives the same creaminess while also being vegetarian and vegan. Soy milk ramen is actually my favorite type of ramen, and I feel like using freshly made homemade soy milk is just gonna like take that over the top. So I'm starting out by making the broth for this. This is basically garlic, ginger and an onion fried until translucent. Then I'm adding a cup and a half of vegetable stock, a cup of soy milk and some dried shiitake mushrooms and kombu seaweed. This is basically gonna make it taste like an authentic dashi, but it's getting infused straight into the soy milk rather than into water. So it should be like a little bit more intense. And then adding a tablespoon of soy sauce, a couple of teaspoons of nutritional yeast, some salt and black pepper, and a tablespoon of miso that I've just dissolved in a bit of hot water. I'm sauteing all my toppings separately. I'm doing the mushrooms with a bit of ginger and some spring onions, then adding a couple of teaspoons of soy sauce, a dash of rice vinegar and maple syrup, and a tiny bit of liquid smoke. And then this is where I would take out my beautiful pressed tofu from out of the fridge and like pan fry it. Except that life is hell. Okay, so this is where we're up to in terms of assembling our bowls. These are all my toppings basically. I've got mushrooms, bamboo shoots, nori, sesame seeds, whatever these are called, I've forgotten the word. Spring onions. And this is mayo, which I made the other day. It's basically like a black garlic infused sauce. When I say black garlic, I don't mean like fermented black garlic, I mean like burnt garlic. So if you taste this, it's gonna taste like crap. But in ramen, it's really good. It's a good thing, it's good. Yum, love crap. I always feel like I need to prove my point and I don't know why. How excited I am to eat this. This is like a feast. I'm sort of blown away by how much food I've been able to make from like 1 cup of dried beans. It kind of feels like witchcraft. I have another like 3 bags of soybeans in the cupboard, so I'm never gonna go hungry. My main takeaway is that making your own soy milk is super worth it. I'm gonna be doing that a lot. And only partially just to get the okara to play with. Because I have heard that you can use it in baked goods as well. So that's probably going to be something that I experiment in the future. I do have a whole bag of nigari now. So I guess legally I have to continue trying to make tofu. I'll give it a little while for the pain to numb. This is my ramen. I'm really proud of it. I'm not gonna lie. Immediately drop it on myself. Ramen now. Oh, mate. Oh my god, sorry, that was my stomach. I just ate that whole thing really fast.